So in the last session we were discussing about UI part, right? What type of
Layout.
I will continue that section walkthrough. We have seen like what type of layouts we have and how we can use that. Now we'll see. We have seen the basic controls. Now we'll see other options.
Subhash, I have a question. So right now, completely stop the usage of smart layout and freeform layouts.
Yes, for the new developments.
Okay.
And then the next thing is if you want to embed the other section. So this is one section, and if you want to embed other section also, you can embed here. Just drag it like this, and you can just click down arrow, display all the sections available here in this class. Then whichever the thing you want to embed, you can just select the section name and it will be embedded. So this will be to display all the section rules from the inheritance path from this class as well as from the from its parent classes. So if you want to inherit anything, if you want to embed anything, you can just section, you can use the section include and do like this. So when you include like something section, you will get this one, section include. So if you want to do any modifications for this section, so we should not do here. We should open the corresponding section. We should do there. Generally, people, that is the mistake people will do. So if they want to do modification directly, they will do here only. They will do, system will accept it, but it won't save into database. So you need, because this is a section, this is just like embedding section. So this is not the actual section here. We are just embedding other sections. So you need to open the corresponding section, and then there you need to modify.
Okay. If you want to create new section also, we can create using the drag option, right?
New section also.
So if I wanted to create a new section in the particular layout, can we use the same option?
No, section. No, section include just for including the section. It's not for creating the new section. Within the layout, if we want to make this layout, let's say I have multiple layouts like this.
Got it.
But in the layout, I use already some UI elements are there. So later I decided like I want to create separate section for this layout. In that case, you can use this. You can see here text symbol is there, right?
Yeah.
This symbol will be useful to make this as a section.
Okay.
Just give the name test create. So automatically it will be created the section. And this is section. Separate section rule is created. You can say open the section rule like this. Section rule created. Okay. And then layout group. This is the important one. So let's say I want to group the layouts and I want to display them in the tabbed format, or I want to display them in the some format. Then how can I group it? So we have a concept of layout group. As the name indicate, grouping the layouts. Grouping the layouts. So just drag the layouts inside that, multiple layouts. First layout, second layout. So when you drag it, it may be anywhere control. You can see I'm getting some orange color or some highlighting. That is the place, I mean, where it is going to be located. But that is the visual indication for us.
So
Now,
that orange color means it's a boundary of that particular layout, right?
so it's not like a boundary. So when you drag it, and if maybe any control, so you can see where it is going to be located. Not a boundary.
Oh, where we are going to place it. Okay.
It's where it is going to be placed.
No, one more question is, suppose, so multiple layouts are there. If you select particular layout, then also it will highlight orange color.
No, if you select it will be a blue color only.
Blue color, okay.
Same color. So if you select, you can say this is a dotted line, this is the normal line. This is the difference.
Okay.
This is selected, this is not selected. I'm selecting this one. So this is I mean highlighted, and the remaining things are dotted lines only. I'm giving title. So by default, when you add any layouts to the layout group, you will get a tabbed structure, tabbed format. Let me add some content. So if you can see, this is the layout group. Inside the layout group, I have 3 layouts: layout 1, layout 2, layout 3. But just for the convenience, I'm just changing the title like a tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. So by default, the layout group is displayed as the tabbed structure. So let's verify it. Let's say the preview. So you can see tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. So tab 1, when you click tab 1 text is coming. So I think this is also tab 1. I need to rename. Tab 2 text, tab 3. I need to rename this to tab 2. Okay, by default, all will come into tabbed structure. And moreover, so if you see, when you run the case, so there they use a tab layout only, I mean layout group only for displaying the case data. So on the top you can see 3 tabs are coming: assignment, information, audit. Right, these are coming, these are implemented using the layout group concept only internally. Audit. So all these 3, so this is a layout group. Inside layout group they have used as assignment, information, audit. So in the same way. Now let's say if the customer is not happy with the table layout, suddenly you want to change it. So it's very pretty easy. So let's say you want to make it menu format. Go to display type. Display type by default is a tab. Or else you can select the tab as well. Tab is also fine. Select the tab. It will also tab will come. Tab 1, tab 2, tab 3. And then if you want a stack format, so but design time won't change. This is in the design time, everything will be in the stacked format. This is the design time. During the design time, everything will be stacked format, but during runtime, based on this layout group format display type, the display will change. If you want only stacked format, it will be normal stack only. Design time won't change. See, this is a tab stack, stacked format. And then format, let's say you can see menu scale, tab 2, tab 3, but this menu is flexible for the mobile devices, not for the this one. So even the one more advantage here is, even if you keep tab layout, okay, if you reduce the resolution to mobile view, automatically it will be converted into menu, because in the mobile devices the menu will be looking good. You can see this is the mobile device. You can see now automatically converted into menu. But actually I kept like tab, so whatever I said, this is for standard resolution. So if we reduce the resolution, it will automatically adjust. And if you need one more display type like accordion means like it's kind of expandable, collapsible thing. This is everything is responsive here. You can see when I expand tab 1 and expand tab 2, first one will be closed. If you expand the tab 3, the remaining 2 will be closed. So at a time, only one will be expanded. Even if you reduce the resolution for this, it also convert into menu. Okay. That is a layout group. So in the design time, you want a tab structure. So here the design time is stack only, but runtime only the behavior is changing. But during design time also, if you want a tab structure, go for tab. This is also same. There is no difference between these two. There is no difference in the design time. So you see both will be same. The only difference is, see tab 1, tab 2, tab 3 is there, also tab 1, tab 2. So one difference is in the design time it will be tab, this will be stack format. This is a tab group, this is a layout group. So if you want later, if you want to change it to other format, this is very difficult here. That is why so layout group is recommended, because that is responsive. Moreover, tab group is not responsive. It won't convert automatically to other format. And then this is the same. So if you want accordion in the design time as well, you can use accordion format. So dynamic content is useful if you want to dynamically append this tabs in the tab group. Let's say tab 1, tab 2 default will come. So or else when you click on any link, I want to display everything in the tab format. Then you can use for dynamic contents, and automatically the tab, if you don't know how many tabs it will be open, you can do like this. This will be useful if you want to display everything in the dynamically add something on the tab structure. And then if you see the advanced controls, so paragraph, it's a generic terminology only. If you want to write a big text, select you want to display terms and conditions. You can write terms and conditions. If that is a big text, you cannot. It won't be good if you add as a label. So label also you can use, but it won't be that much good to add the big text. So what we can do, if you have a big text or like terms and conditions kind of thing, create a paragraph rule terms and conditions and create the rule. There you can write any big text and you can embed that one. So something like this. You can embed. This is a terms and condition. And save it, then it will be embedded here. Something like this. So a big text will be embedded here. So this will be useful if you want to write a big text. So autocomplete is also same as a drop down. The only difference is provided suggestions, auto suggestions. We will use that in the let's close all this. So we need to provide, this is also same as, this is also recommended list control, autocomplete, drop down, data buttons are same. We need to give the source for this. So once you give the source, and this will be flexible if you have the list is very huge. Then you can go for autocomplete. If the list is smaller, like 30 options are there, then you can go for drop down. If the list is just like 5 to 6, you can go for data button, something like that. So the main advantage of this one is it provides auto suggestions. Based on the typing, it will filter the results. Here you cannot say anything because there is no source configured. You can give something like this, then it will start filtering. So for that reason we will use autocomplete. So smart label is not, list to list is also same thing. So generally we don't use it, like if you want to, what we call, we will implement the same thing using some other, this is also deprecated control. We don't use this control directly like this. By using the logic we will build that one. So this is a separate control packet created, but right now people don't use it. We will directly implement this using some logic, like we will keep some button here. We'll keep two layouts. From one layout to from other layout I need to copy the data. That is the main advantage of the list to list. I have two lists, from one page list to other page list I want to copy the data. So we can do programmatically as well. This won't support in all the browsers. You can see here configuring parameters for this deprecated control is only supported in Internet Explorer. Moreover, this is deprecated. Deprecated means we should not use that for the new developments. So only for just for backward compatibility, many controls will be given. I mean, if you migrate anything from older version to support that, it will give support. But for new development, we should not use that. So if you want to implement the graphs, we want to use the graphs inside this one. You can use graph, like you can configure the graph here. So the graph requests, I mean, we have two types of reports. We'll see that on the reporting concept. So only for summary reports, you can do the graphs. You can use report definition as a source, or a data page as a source, or a clipboard page as a source. So we'll see this one when we create the report definitions. And data field is also not menu. It is same as this is not same as the menu that we discussed, like in the tab. So tab is just for displaying. But here I have page list, and I want to display all the page list options as a menu, or else I want to display some other options as a menu. Then this menu will take you, I mean, will ask for one more rule called navigation rule. So navigation rule is something like this. You can see I launch the portal. You can see your display. You can see some menus. I can see some options on the right hand side: dashboard, work, calendar, reports. When I click something is happening. This is called menu. So this is implemented using the menu. So these are the options in the menu. There we configure like what is the action for this menu. So while customizing this screen, at the time we will see this navigation rule. And rich text extract we do like adding the I mean, providing user to provide some extra capabilities while typing the things. And then you can also this is useful for the touch devices, signature capture. It's not for desktop devices. So wherever touch screen touch is there, for that you can also use this capture signature. On address map. So address map is like if you want to embed the Google map inside this one, so you can use address map. So for this you need to do configurations at both the Pega and you need to do something, and at the at the Google end also you need to do something. You need to create some project there, and you need to use that configuration same here in the Pega. So you need to go through this article. PDF article is there step by step configuration what to do is given. You have to follow that. So basically this will ask for the longitude and latitude of any location. So for any in the Google map, anything will be is a latitude and longitude. If you point on any area, you will get the latitude and longitude of any area. So just let's say I want to know here. Just click on what's here. You can see it's giving me some numbers here on the bottom. So those numbers are called latitude and longitude. So Google Map will work based on this numbers only. This will be unique for each and every point you have on the Google Map. You need to provide these values, and then the system will pick the corresponding area. This is the starting latitude and longitude. And then these are the controls and these are the layouts we have. So overall this is how we can build the UI based on these controls. Any doubts here?
Subhas, can you show me, you told capture, can you show me the category again?
This signature capture?
Okay, this means it will be used for digital signature.
Yes, this digital we will capture digital signature, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and moreover this is only for touchpad devices. If you are running your application in the touch screens, then this will work. Otherwise it won't work.
No.
Okay. Now we will see page lists. Already we have seen the page properties. Sections walkthrough is done. Now we will see local storage, and then already we have seen the page list. Repeatedly I have shown, right? Like just collecting the education details as example. Okay, now we will see local storage. So what is a local storage? So local storage is nothing but if you want to store the data, if you are maintaining the data, not storing like that, if you are maintaining the data within the application, that is called local storage. The name is given like that. So local means in the application. So I want to maintain the data within the application, then that is called local storage. So why do we maintain the data within the application? Why can't in the DB? So there are two, let's say I am giving advantages here. If you maintain the data within the application, the advantage here is you can easy to manage. Why it is easy to manage? So because if you want to enter the data in the database, let's say you are managing the data in the database. If you want to enter the data in the database, you need to know the DB skills. That is not some SQL language. Without SQL language, you cannot create the table, you cannot update the data, you cannot delete the data, you cannot do whatever you want. So you need to have some skills, some DB skills. But here we don't require anything. Without knowing the underlying knowledge of SQL, we can manage the data. We can manage the data, and it is easy for the retrieval because it is maintained within the application. Pega is maintaining that one, so easy retrieval. We can do easy retrieval. That is also one more advantage. Of course, the data is stored in the database only. Any data will be stored in the database only eventually. But the managing, we are not managing the data from the database side. We are managing the data from the application side. I have some sample data, so I want to maintain the sample data from the application. And moreover, they should be useful only if you have a, like the number is very minimum. So you can see useness if the data volume is lesser. So if you have millions of record, you cannot maintain here. So that is not good way. So if you have the volume is less, then you can maintain here. Let's say if you have a grocery items for the supermarket, and you want to maintain that in the local list. So the grocery items may be the max 1,000 and 1,000 and 2,000 records will be there. So that is fine. Up to 10,000, 2,000, up to 20,000, that is fine. But if it is more than that, you can go better maintaining in the database only. So, and if you want to maintain the data, so because the data will be changed, you can easily manage. Like if you want to change the price, so price will be changing for every 1 week, or sometimes we need to change every alternative day. In that case, no need to go to database every time and you need to update the queries. There directly we can give automatically. Pega provides some mechanism to update you. Can update there itself. So it is also storage. It is also maintaining some data only, but here we are maintaining the data within the application. So now in this use case, what we are doing is we need to have maintained the product details, right? Finally, they need to raise the request for the products only. If there is a defect in the products, so we need to raise the request. So when the customer says they have a product issue with this product, I need to show the list of products for them. So for that purpose, I am maintaining those list of products in the what we call in the application itself. So let's create the, so for maintaining the local storage, first we need to create the data type. So I will make it add data type product category. So product category will contain like what type of, there will be different products. Some may be electronics, some may be AC, some may be different product categories will be there. So I want to use that one. So here this is storing in the framework data layer, but I want to make it in the organization data layer. Organization rule set, submit. And one more advantage here is if you have the data in the Excel sheets, you can upload the data as well. If you maintain the local storage, you can also once you add this class like data type like this, you can add the properties. Then you can also upload the data using the Excel sheets. We have the data. So here just add the parent category. So my main aim here is I want to take three fields here. One is parent category and category name, category ID. So for category name and category ID, so I want to use out of the box properties. So like py label and py ID is there. So anything which starts with the px, py, pj, those are the out of the box properties. Okay. So here I want to use, instead of creating those properties again, I want to use the properties from the Pega itself, like py ID and py label. Py label I want to use it for category name. Py ID I want to use it for showing the category ID. So parent category means, so for each category, so we need to display the parent category. If the parent category is empty, means that is itself is a parent category. So I want like that. So I have some sample data. So if you want to create a local storage for this class, then what you need to do? Go to records. So you can see configure source. So for this class, I want to maintain the data within the application. So if you want to maintain the data within the application as a local storage, you can see here local data storage. Select this configure source. Now it will ask for the column names. Which column names you need? So I will need, along with PYID, I want to maintain PYID. This is this is not change. PY label, and this will be, so whenever you use from the inheritance, you can see this symbol will come. like this properties is reusing. We are using this property. So we need to increase the reusability. So that is why I'm using this one. The ID is the parent category ID, parent category, and this is the label. I mean actual category name. So out of this, one will act as a key. So to get the value, so this will be act as a key, and then you can see in the bottom, system is creating two other rules. Those rules are called data pages. We discuss them once we add this things. So system is doing two things. We are adding the two data pages. One is lookup data page, single data page. One is the lookup list data page. So because I want to get one, if I want to get single record, so I will go for this single instance data page. If I want to get, if I want to get a multiple records, I want to go for the list data page. That is why system is automatically creating those two rules, and we don't need to create manually. So we will see these things as well. So these are the system generated rules. So let me, so I have some sample data. Let me open that. Let me open here. So let me search, where is it?
Subhash, I lost the sharing.
Yeah, I stopped it. Okay, now this is the columns, close it. So now once you close it, you can see the columns will be clear. If you want to add the data for this, just click plus symbol. So you don't need to have any SQL knowledge. So you just click plus symbol and add product categories. Product ID, category ID, category name. Let's say category is not the electronics. Something like, you can add any number of data here. This is like managing is very easy. If you do here, if you want to delete it, you can see delete button is there, delete this one. If you want to update it, just double click on it, you can update the data. So without knowing any underlying technology, SQL, you can manage the data within the application. Now I have some sample data already, realistic sample data, so I will dump it. So you can add the data like this manually, or else you can also, system also supports importing or exporting the data. So here I'm importing the data. So import, choose file, product categories, I have some CSV file is there with me. Just upload that one, upload. You can see total number of records 12. So records are 12. That's it. Just click OK. Now you can see here, this is the sample data. I have AC motors. So the parent category for this is motors. You can see, come to motor. Motor is a motors category. You can see motor is the, so wherever a parent category is empty, that becomes itself is a parent category. So if it is empty, that means that is act as a parent category. So this is in the within the motors. I have two types of motors. You can see AC motors is there, and then somewhere you can see DC motors is there. Both are come under, but for both, motor is the parent category, and this is the label for that. So this is the sample data for the categories, and in each category I will have products. This is something like say I want to display the mobile model, so you need to display the brand names like Samsung and what we call different brands will be there, like iPhones. If you want to use Apple, so you can use different brands here, and in each brand you can have some more models, right? So in the same way, so category first you select, and select the category to display the products. And then this is like just maintain the categories. Now I want to maintain the products for that. So let's create one more data type called as product. So product, this also I want to make it in the organization layer only, data. data product, organization layer, submit. So I have some sample data. Based on that, let me see the columns. What are the columns we have? So the column should be same. The column name should be same for this one here. You can see some sample data I have. So these are the product IDs. A product type PYID, category I need to create, help text, manufacturer, model number, price should return, weight, PY label. So I need to use the column name should be with this same as this one. Then it will automatically match. So category is single is text only, and then help text.
Subhash, so this local storage, so we are creating a new data type and trying to store the local data, right?
Yes.
So what is the difference between data table and this local storage?
Both are same. That is a good question basically. Both are same. So you got it. So both are same, but that is deprecated again. So data from 717 onwards, now I am using 7168, right? So in 716 we have data tables concept.
Okay, I'm practicing on 7.1.6.
Yeah. So data tables is still is there. You can see data tables have been replaced by the new local data storage.
Okay.
Okay, this is deprecated from 717 onwards. So when if you even if you have data tables, let's say you migrate from 716 to 718. So there you have data tables. So this will be displayed, but you cannot create new data tables, and moreover you will get a convert button in the bottom. For each data table. So you can use the convert button. It will be automatically converted into local storage.
Okay, if you convert into local storage, it should not impact any.
No, this is same as in the data tables also. If you see here, data tables also you need to use you need to mention the class name. Here also class name. If we are mentioning one more tab here, for that purpose, you create one more tab, the cost tab.
Okay.
There won't be any issue. Everything the same. Like there also lookup data page will be created. Here also lookup data page, list data page will be created. Also creating. So for maintaining separate tools, like here, if you want to add the data tables, you need to use separate landing page again. There is no link between the data type, the class and the things, right? That is why they made everything in the single, what we call, in the single location. Like a separate tab is added, like records is not there earlier, so this is added, so you can see the records for that if you want to configure the local storage.
Okay, got it.
And then help text manufacturer model number, manufacturer model number, and then price should return weight PY label. So price should be decimal and should return weight PY label. Return is a boolean. This is integer. Let's see. Last is PY label is not need to create. So because that is out of the box property. Out of the box properties you cannot create it here, which are not there out of the create them here, and then you need to go to records again, configure source. Automatically this will come, and PY ID, this product ID. PY label. This is also key. For this also system create two data pages. Data page already exists and will be overridden. So I have for some other batch. So this one we'll name it I rename that product. This is product details. Product details list. Okay, and then click next. Close. So if you want to add manually, you can also add the products. So I'm adding, but I'm importing. Import, choose file, product CSV, open, upload. So errors are there. It seems like it's not valid. So we need to convert weight into decimal because it's taking decimal values. Let's go here. Let me remove this. So one more thing to remember: once you add any data type for any property, you cannot change that one. That is disadvantage basically. You need to create new property only. This is a decimal. Go to records again. Upload. Columns. Yes, it's there. Import, choose file, product CSV, open, upload. You can see all are uploaded. Okay. Now I have all the sample data. I have products. I have what we call. I have the categories. Everything is there. I need to display on the screen. So when you call the customer, he will they need to capture two details, right? They need to capture your candidate details as well as they need to capture your product details as well, right? So for that reason, so we are mentioning the products here. So you need to say what is for which product. Let's say we are handling the electronic gadgets. So that is why we have taken all the electronics data as sample data. You can check anything as sample data. And then we need to display it in the case. That is our main intention. So in the client,
can we see, sorry to interrupt you. Can we see this table data backend?
Yes, you can see definitely because everything will be stored in the database only. If you want to see the database table, you can see show database information is there. This is the database table.
STD data product. Okay.
You can see that.
Oh, can you open and show me in the backend also?
Yeah, sure. You can see how many number of records are there here. I have a number. It's not displaying the numbers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here you can see better Excel sheet. 17 means 16 are there. Now you can go to tables. What is the table name they are saying? PRSTM. Go to PR. PRSTM. You can see here PRSTM data product is there, right? So table system will automatically create the table internally, and then you can see the data by using the tools. You can see the data section records are there. So data will be eventually stored from the database only. It's not local storage means, but the data will be maintained within the application. You are not maintaining the data in the database. When adding this is called managing. So managing all the things. Yeah.
Subhash, PYID is out of box provided variable, right?
Yes.
So will it accept alphanumeric values?
Anything. It is a text value, right? Text means it will accept numeric as well.
Okay.
Text fields will accept numerics as well.
Generally, ID means it should be numeric, right? That's what I'm asking the question.
No, it's not like numeric. Let's say if you go for loan number, loan account, sometimes they will ask append like L, or L they will append some L at in the front. So it's up to them how they want to name it. If you want to go for numeric, it also accepts numeric. Okay. Even the model number also sometimes will have if you see any mobile model number, So they have some text as well inside that, like H320, then model number they will give like that.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Okay, so we have the sample data. Now we need to see how to display it on the screen. So for retrieving this, actually Pega is already created some rules. So what are those rules? Data pages are created. Now we need to discuss those data pages. For before discussing, I want to directly first design the UI, then we'll discuss that. So here this is getting here also we have two data pages. Let me refresh it once. Product category also I have two data pages basically. You can go to source. In the source you can see what is the source for the getting the data. This is the report definition. You can see data page is there, list data page is created. So if this one is basically is getting all the data, all the categories, but I want only parent categories. My requirement is I want to show parent category on the top. I want to show 3 drop downs. On the first drop down I want to show parent category. Second drop down I want to show the subcategories. Third category I want to show I want to show like the actual products in that subcategory. If this is same as like if you go to any car website, if you want to buy any car, they will ask like what is the brand. If I select Hyundai and then you select the subcategory, like what is the model. In each brand you will be having multiple models. You select the model, and then in the model you will get again different what we call I don't know what we'll say. So buy a car. Here if you see, first you need to select the this and this. So user cars. Here this is different. I guess they didn't be like that. It's not, I cannot see that. Anyway, let's. You can find that in some websites. They will ask for the first, they will ask the model number, and then I mean the brand like Hyundai or Maruti, whatever you want, and then they will display the that again each brand will be having multiple variants. Each variant it will be seen as different version, I mean different model numbers. So that the like that we want to build like the first current category and then the subcategory and then the main category. So this data page will get all the data. So if you run this, you can also run this one to test it. I'll explain this once we design the UI. What is the purpose of this one? This is getting all the 12 records. So I have 12 records in the product category. So it's getting all the 12 records. But I want to only get parent categories. Parent categories means wherever this is empty. So wherever this is parent category is empty, that becomes the parent category for me. So if you have parent category some field me, that is the subcategory basically. So I want to get all the categories where the parent category is empty. So for that reason I am creating one more data page. So to get the data page, you can add data page. So I am creating one more data page here, d underscore parent category, categories, parent category, category list. This is fine. I have to give this is a list source. Definition. What I will do is I will save as this one, so it will my work will be easier. Source. This is actual report definition. This is actual source. This is the rule actually getting the data from the database. I'll just save as this one. Save as this one. I will rename it into so here just I want to add the everything will be same except this parent category is not. Now if you run it, now you can see only parent categories. Consider I am getting only parent categories, only 4 I am getting. Now go to data page. Here I want to give parent. That's it. So now I will use this source for the drop down. So I can use database as a source for the drop down. So here I will this parent category I will use for first drop down. Second drop down I will use that subcategory already is there. For again for what we call for product list I have already database. Already 3 databases I have for the drop downs that we will configure tomorrow. We are running out of time. Okay, we'll see that tomorrow. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm ending the meeting. I think Siva, please join once again. We are ending the meeting and we can restart the meeting.
Okay, that's fine.